Okay, welcome to the lecture 3 on Introduction to Network Security Fundamentals and a quick recap of the previous two lectures. In the previous two lectures, we have seen the introduction, we have understood the background of information security, we have seen the definitions of computer security, network security, internet security. Moving ahead, we have discussed about the definitions in detail. We have understood the aim of this particular course. We have seen the security trends from 90s in the previous two lecture. Then we have considered three aspects of security, that is security attack, security service, and in today's lecture we will be focusing on security mechanisms. So we have seen the different types of attacks, that is the passive attack and the active attack. In passive attack, we have seen read of message contents, eavesdropping. In active attack, we have seen four major types of attacks, that is capture of message, modification, masquerade, and denial of service. In the previous second lecture, we have seen what is a security service, what are the security services, that is X.800 RFC 2828. We have seen the security services goals and what do we mean by authentication, what do we mean by access control, ensuring data confidentiality, data integrity, non-repudiation. In non-repudiation and data authentication, we have also seen entity authentication and source origin authentication. Now, today in this lecture, we will be handling the third aspect and the very important aspect of security mechanism. Now, up till now, we have talked about that yes, we want to protect the data and we are here to protect the data from unauthorized access. But how are we going to do it? Obviously, the answer is there has to be some mechanism. And security mechanisms are basically the features designed to detect, prevent, or recover from a security attack. Now, if the attack is already happened, then it can be recovered if possible. Else, if it is not happened, it is a mechanism to prevent and protect and also to detect. Now, one of the most important thing is there is no single mechanism that will support all the services required. What do I mean by this? Now, see, in services, we have seen that you want authentication, you want that the data is integrate, okay, the confidentiality is ensured, you want the access also. So, when we think of designing a mechanism, that is a security mechanism, it is said that no single mechanism will ensure authentication, ensure confidentiality, ensure integrity. However, one particular element underlies many of the security mechanisms in use, and that is cryptographic techniques. Okay, so when we talk about security mechanisms, there are two types of security mechanism. Okay, specific security mechanism and pervasive security mechanism. To name a few, and where are these security mechanisms defined? They're obviously defined in the standard X.800. Now, what do I mean by this is, see, if I want my data to be protected, first means what? Protected means I need to ensure the lock and key. Okay, if I lock and key on internet means what? In simple language, it's having a password. Now, how will you have the password? Now, it can be a password which is email password. For if it is for your phone, which is having a data, then it can be the pin code, it can be a pattern. Okay, so that is one thing. So that is ensuring what? Your data is secure. But is it ensuring the authentication of it? Is it that the username and the password is of the same person who is claiming to be? कोई भी कल मेरे नाम का यूजर नेम पासवर्ड बना सकता है and they can masquerade my identity. So username password can give you protection of the data, But what if the username itself is not of the person whom is being claimed? Somebody on behalf of me has removed that username and is sending messages. So, in that case, you are having a mechanism which is providing security in terms of username, password, okay. But what about the authentication? What about the identity of the person? So is there something, therefore you have like, see, see, you have your cell phone, okay, your friends know your password, your friends know your pin. But if at all it happens that using your phone, someone opens the pattern and sends a message, what is appearing to the receiver? That the message is sent by you. But there was some person who just has taken the advantage of knowing your user credentials and he has passed a message. And therefore, if you see, there is, after having that pin, two-layer security. Now these days, they say protect your devices using two-way authentication or two-layer security. Means what? Your thumbprint. Okay, thumbprint. Some phones have iris, right? So if password, username hai, pin hai, pattern is also there, but you can't have the thumb impression, right? With if that lock is set. And after having a screen lock, internal also, you have WhatsApp lock, you have apps lock. So what are these? This is first layer security, second layer security, the specific application, you're protecting it. Okay, so specific security mechanisms means they're intended for a specific purpose, they have a specific goal. So when you want a particular thing, like you want the authentication, obviously you will give a thumbprint, you will have iris or face recognition. However, if you don't want authentication, you want just the data to be confident, you will use encryption of the data. Okay. So depending on that, the security mechanisms X.800, they are broadly categorized as specific security mechanisms and pervasive security mechanisms. Now, in specific security mechanisms, now this encipherment, digital signature, access control, data integrity, authentication exchange, traffic padding, routing, notarization, we all will see this in detail. Okay, because the rest of the chapter and the rest of the subject moves along this. And what is pervasive security mechanisms? These are trusted functionality, security labels, event detection, security audit trials, security recovery. Okay, so when we talk about them, it is important that you see what are you trying to protect. You want security, but is it that security is being provided to you? Is there a security? And is the application, like you are using a lock and key, but it is not providing anything? Is it, how valid is it? You also don't know. You have to check the validation of it. So, primarily, when we say security mechanism, okay, it is trying to protect the data. Okay, I want you all to just note down specific security mechanisms may be incorporated into the appropriate protocol layer in order to provide some of the OSI security services. Okay, so when we say security mechanisms, like these are at inserted or incorporated at a specific layer, whereas in the pervasive security mechanisms, they are not specific to any OSI security service or a protocol layer. Okay, so and what are the differences over here? So we have encipherment, which has to be incorporated at a specific security level. Digital signature also at a specific security protocol layer. Access control also the same, data integrity, authentication key exchange, traffic padding, routing control and notarization. Okay, so these fall into the category of specific security mechanisms. Now, When I say about this, it means that first we will see what is the meaning of encipherment. Now, in this particular slide, the data is not being put, but I'll just tell you what is encipherment. It is basically use of mathematical algorithms to transform data into a form that is not readily intelligible. Okay, the transformation and subsequent recovery of the data depends on an algorithm and zero or more encryption key. So encipherment basically involves some cryptographic or intelligent conversions of the data so that it makes it unreadable, and it depends on the algorithm. For example, most of us use the online what you can say net banking. So when we are entering the username password, you get a message on there 24 or 34 64 bit encryption or 128 bit encryption. Okay, and even in the WhatsApp, when you are sending the messages to this user are encrypted. So what is this even means here? The data is made into a readily intelligible form which cannot be read by normal user, and in order to retrieve it or read it, you need to know what is the algorithm. Okay, that is one first category which falls into the specific security mechanism. The second is digital signature. Now, digital signature, everyone will think that what we sign and add. So that is a photographic photo of a digital signature. But digital signature, what is being talked over here is something different. Now, that is again having a mechanism. Now, as everything has gone online, the orders, the authentication, now some of the notices that you see, I don't know, or the orders that have been given by the government officers, they are having this digital signature. This digital signature is a basically data appended or cryptographic transformation of data of a data unit that allows a recipient of the data unit to prove the source and integrity of data unit and protect against forgery by the recipient. It means that if I have given a message today and I have put my digital signature, okay, which is in the form of a cryptographic message, and it has been and basically it has been obtained using the cryptographic techniques, then no one and even myself cannot deny that I have not sent this message. However, we do not take that digital sign, means what we write, draw on paper, and then we paste it, right? So that is not a digital signature. Most of the people and most of the students get confused. Like that photo, adding a photo, like same on the gate form that we do. Is that a digital signature? No. Here in digital signature, there is a code generated, there is a timestamp generated, and after that, the digital signature is generated automatically in the Word document in the Adobe. There is a feature which adds because all these circulars are using Word or Adobe. Okay. After that is access control, a variety of mechanisms that enforce access right to resources. Now, see, even why is this access control a specific security mechanism? Now, example, even in our college, we are using firewall. You have been given username, password. You log in using that and access the Wi-Fi or the net that is available to you. Now, initially, YouTube was not available. Okay, we have restricted the control. Now, this comes under the specific security mechanism because these days even YouTube is generating very unethical content. Okay, there is no genuinity of the content. Anybody can go because YouTubers are growing this lockdown period, and people are started using abusive languages, and they are using YouTube videos in a wrong sense also. Okay, so I'm just giving an example. So what we have done, like, I'm just giving an example, but there are more worst forms also of, but the way the thing is, everything, videos, the most important server for storing videos without authentication is YouTube. Like YouTube has grown massively in the past years because anybody can go and upload the content. There is no, what you can say, restrictions imposed on uploading the content, on publishing the content except for some non expected content. Okay. Now, the next is data integrity mechanism, a variety of mechanisms used to assure integrity of a data unit or a stream of data. Okay. Then the next you can see here is authentication exchange. Now, what do we mean by authentication exchange? A mechanism intended to ensure the identity of an entity by means of information exchange. Means, how do I ask a question now, and I say roll number 12, that is Datta Teja, answer me. I'm giving an example. Okay. Now, authenticity. What is the authenticity that I have right now? It's only Datta Teja is listening to me. Okay, only when I get a response from him, I will be sure. Now, it may be the case that he must have handed his cell phone to someone. He has logged in. I'm giving an example, obviously. So this can happen anywhere. You have seen the Munna Bhai MBBS movie, right? You see that a person is faked and is made to give the entrance, and who is getting the admission? It's Sanjay Dutt. Now, what was that? Because authentication on the iCard, the photo was changed, but the person also went on to be different. And who got admitted was different. Okay. And now this has happened in the real time. But now you see, as we have gone online, lots of authentication hazards are happening. And specifically, you can see that in the recruitment processes. Okay, students are not our students, but across the India. Okay, you don't know, somebody is doing the work, if it is work from home. Okay, somebody is doing the work from home, but the person is continuously online. Okay, and then you don't have any mechanism. So authentication exchange basically is a mechanism intended to ensure the identity of an entity by means of information exchange. Okay, then traffic padding, the insertion of bits into gaps in a data stream to frustrate the traffic analysis attempt. Okay, now this is one thing that we will be dealing at the end in the section 2, and how it is a specific mechanism that is used to frustrate the traffic analysis attempt. Okay, then you have routing controls. Now this enables selection of a particular physically secure routes for certain data and allows routing changes specific, especially when a breach of security is suspected. Now you have seen that most of the times, even in our organization, we have two internet lines, and whenever we are accessing or allowing the students to appear for exam, we want them to have a high speed internet, the network connection doesn't break. So what do? We do this routing control, right? We allow that particular traffic to be diverted, and we switch the data control from onto another line, so that there is a continuous flow of data and the hindrance is not caused because of loss of data, or the server is flooded, or there is a break in the internet power. Okay, so that is routing control. And notarization is use of a trusted third party to assure certain properties of a data exchange. Now this is the last point, wherein what is expected is you use a third party to assure certain properties of data exchange. Now I don't know right now whom I am communicating, or I'll give you an example. It may be the case that there is a communication between a person A and person B. Okay, person A is trying to tell something to person B, but person B is not in the mood to listen. Then what do? We call his best friend, we call parents, or we call someone. Now, what is this? This is a trusted third party from the perspective of user A and user B. And then what we do? We use a trusted third party to assure certain properties of data exchange. Means we take a guarantee. We take a guarantee from that third person that yes, in future, if this so and so person doesn't perform well or doesn't reply to our message, you will be the one who will be responsible. Okay. And this is also done at a specific security mechanism. So that is called as notarization concept. Okay. So all these fall into the specific security mechanisms, and specific security mechanisms means, again, I repeat that they are incorporated in a particular protocol layer, an appropriate protocol layer, in order to provide some of the OSI security services. Now, pervasive security mechanisms. I repeat, these are basically the mechanisms that are not specific to any particular OSI security service or a protocol layer. The first is trusted functionality. That is, which is perceived to be correct with respect to some criteria that is established by a security policy. Means we have a trusted party who will be a person in the middle, and based on that, now today, if I say you send your money by a particular application like internet banking, I have designed one app and you send it through it. Will anyone dare to do it? No, nobody will dare to do it, right? Because it's we don't know the trusting of it, we don't know the authenticity of it. So trusted functionality is basically someone who both the parties trust and has proven itself through some security standards. Okay. Next is security labels. What do we mean by security labels? The marking bound to a resource, which may be a data unit, that names or designates the security attributes of the resource. Means what? We are trying to label that particular security uh, that is being provided, like OTP, coming of an OTP, then CAPTCHA example. Okay. Then select, you have image CAPTCHA, you have then what you can say, a voice message, voice call. Okay. Then the next is security audit trial. Now, data collected and potentially used to facilitate a security audit, which is an independent review and examination of the system records and activities. Now, most of the students who are example to talk about are staying on the hostel. What happens is, if you are downloading the content which is beyond the permissible limit, then some students account is blocked, or you have to come and meet the network administrator. Now, why is this happening? How students believe that क्या पता चलेगा कि हमने क्या देखा है, कितना डाउनलोड कर रहे हैं? No. Whenever you are inside an organization, always remember, even if it is an institute, or if you go tomorrow to a corporate industry or a private industry, there is a security audit trial. Now, what happens is, in that, all your traffic, incoming and outgoing, is observed, is watched, and there are some filters set. Like, what is the type of content? Even if you go onto your cell phone or your device, you will also see, if you are using internet, which is the application. Like, are you using Google more? Is it WhatsApp more? Is it Instagram more? Or something apart from that? You will come to know that, because it at the back it is doing a monitoring. Okay, so there's a security audit trials, and that happen without you telling. They are by default enabled. Okay, and the last is security recovery. So they deals with requests from mechanisms such as event handling and management function, and takes recovery action. Now, security recovery can be basic from recovering your system data, to having an antivirus, to having firewall, then to have what you can say, two layer protection, everything password protected, fingerprint, thumb impression. These days for laptops also you have. So security recovery is also aiming to protect and recover the data. I hope the security mechanisms are clear to you. Now, if you see, there is always a relationship between the security services and security mechanism. Okay, so there are encipherment, digital signature. Now, what does, if I ask you, what does this digital signature provides? Which service does it provide? Obviously, this digital signature provides data origin authentication and peer entity authentication, which is the goal. Okay, डिजिटल सिग्नेचर का मेन एम क्या होगा? ऑब्वियसली टू एंश्योर द ऑथेंटिकेशन. Okay, then how do you ensure that the confidentiality is mentioned? You ensure it by encipherment. Encipherment means using the encryption and decryption of the data. Okay, again, now how do you ensure non-repudiation? Non-repudiation means what? Tomorrow I cannot deny that I have not sent this message. It's again through digital signature. Okay, excuse me. Now, moving ahead to the last point of this particular chapter. Now, every communication that happens over a network has a model for network security. Now, what do we say when we talk about a model for network security? Obviously, this is a very simple diagram, which is almost 20 years, more than 20 years back, but still the form remains the same. So when we talk about model for network security, means that it's a logical information channel established by defining a route through internet from source to destination and by cooperative use of communication protocol. Now, security related transformation on the information to be sent. Example includes encryption of the message, which scrambles the message so that it is unreadable by the opponent. Now, what actually, if you see over here, when we talk about the model for security means, here you have the sender of the message and there is obviously a receiver of the message. Now, this is the sender A of the message and this is the receiver of the message. Now, you want to send a message, okay? There is different methods you can go directly to send him, but obviously you are sending this message through an information channel, okay? Information channel can be an online channel. Now, how do you ensure this is there are lots of opponents, okay, and lots of threats to this particular message that is being sent by the sender and the receiver. So what you want to have a secure network security model. Then you have this called as security related transformation and secret information. This is the secret information. So whatever your secret information is, you do something conversion over here. And that is called as security related transformation. And when you apply that security related transformation to this secret information, you obtain the secret message such a way that no one can read the secret message. It is purely secret. Okay. Then this secret message travels through this information channel. Okay. And at the receiving end, if now the recipient B wants to read this message, again at his end, he has to apply the security related transformation. Then he will get the secret message and the message will be read. So, what do we mean by security related transformation? Example includes the encryption of the message. Now, encryption means what? I say hello. Okay, hello. In your childhood, okay, everyone must have spoken this cryptic language, Chachi Bhasha, Erchi Bhasha, Merchi Bhasha. Now, what is it? It is scrambling of the words, characters. You either align it backward or you align it in the front so that I'm writing hello. Okay, I'm writing hello or I'm just writing hi. Okay, this is the message. Now, if I want to send a simple hi, I just write it like this. I asterisk and one exclamation. Okay. Now, what is this? I have done some conversion. Okay. Means what? For A to Z, I have allotted one symbol. And what symbol I get for H is asterisk. And what symbol I get for I is exclamation. Okay, so this is what is at the simplest level security related transformation. And then if I just there is what is being sent is this asterisk. Okay, and this high. Can anyone come to know that this is high? No, nobody will come to know. And this is being transferred. Now, at this particular end, this again, the reverse is applied, and that is called as decryption. Again, you unscramble the data and obtain the original information and then send it to the receiver. Okay, so examples include encryption of the message, which scrambles the message so that it is unreadable by the opponent, and the addition of a code based on the contents of the message, which can be used to verify the identity of the sender. Now, what do we mean by secret information? Some secret information shared by two principals, and it is hoped that unknown to the opponent. An example is encryption key used in conjunction with transformation to scramble the message before transmission and unscramble it on reception. Means what? The opponent or the attackers should not be aware of what the data is being sent, and therefore the secret information can be a key. Okay, so this is the model for network security. And now moving ahead, using this model requires us to design an algorithm for performing security related transformation. Now, this is the basic model, okay, what we have studied. But how are we going to use it? Now, everyone, like we are using the virus or antivirus, we are using n number of things to ensure the security, right? So, this looks very simple, but what does this implementation requires us to do as network security people? Like it is today, even you can have your secret code language and you also can send it over the internet, right? It is not anyone's property. So what does it require? It requires that using this model requires us to design a suitable algorithm for security transformation, then generate the secret information, that is keys used by the algorithm. Obviously, there is some lock, so key has to be there. And what is the lock here? The lock is a suitable algorithm. And obviously, that suitable algorithm to open up will have the key. Thirdly, develop methods to distribute and share the secret information. And finally, specify a protocol enabling the principals to use the transformation and secret information for a security service. Now, whatever is present on this slide is the chapters of this particular subject are based on these 4 points. Means what? Different algorithms which were designed from the beginning of network security. That is Diffie-Hellman, key exchange. Then you have RSA. You have since the beginning means starting from Julius Caesar cipher model, the simplest. Okay, then generating the secret key. So we have the algorithm, we have the key now. But how are you going to after you lock that information, how are you going to distribute the key? That is the third question. You have purchased a lock, you have applied the key. Now the question is, how are you going to key? Because without the lock, the key, the information cannot be opened. The lock and the key has to have. Then if are you going to make a duplicate key? If you have making a duplicate key, then how are you going to give that to the user? That is the next third important question. And the fourth is specify a protocol enabling the principals to use the transformation and secret information for a particular security service. That is what we have seen. Data encipherment, routing access, then access control. Okay. And now we move towards the model of network access security. Now, what happens is when we are talking about network security models, we have seen that we have to have the security related algorithm and the key, and only when you can pass on the message. But there are other security related situations of interest that do not neatly fit in this model. Okay, so a general model for these other situation is illustrated in the same figure which you say, which you are seeing on the screen, which reflects a concern for protecting an information system from unwanted access. Now, most readers are familiar with the concerns caused by existence of hackers who attempt to penetrate system that can be accessed over network. What does it say? That, see, we are talking about this model, we want a security related transformation, we want a security key, but see, you know that today the internet is flooded with lots of hackers, okay, who attempt to penetrate the system. Most of the time, even you get a message your account has been deposited with 500 or 5000 rupees, click on this link, okay, and some people do click the link. Then how do they click the link? It depends. Okay. So here, for this particular axis, this is this diagram. Okay. This shows. So first we need to understand who is this hacker. So hacker can be someone who, with no malign intent, simply gets satisfaction from breaking and entering a computer system. Okay, hackers can be of two type, like active and passive both. Kabhi kabhi hackers can be from within your friends also. Now, instead of friends, they can be intruders because only your friends have access. Now, so hackers can be internal and external. And what is they want? They just want to break into your system and get access to your computer system. Or you can see the intruder can be a disgruntled employee who wishes to do the damage, or a criminal who seeks to exploit computer assets for financial gain. Example, obtaining credit card number or performing illegal money transfer. Okay, so there are different like hackers, intruders, then what you can say, criminals, criminal minded people. What do they all want? They all want access to your computer. Now what do they want? Why do they want it? See, now if at all, if I say some students or these people, they try to have a curiosity कि what is going on in someone's life. Okay, क्या चल रहा है उसकी life में, तो they want an access to their cell phones, or what data, whom is she chatting with, what is happening in her life, where did she go. Okay, so all these can be recovered through the chat details, right? So this is not intentionally hacking. Okay, it is an intruder because a friend knows your password and then he's trying to get access to it. Now, the another type of unwanted access is the placement in the computer system of logic that exploits vulnerabilities in the system, and that can affect application program as well as the utility programs such as editors and compilers. Now, you see there is an opponent. Now, this opponent in the diagram can be a human or a software, okay, virus, worm. And you can see at the information system, okay, here you have this information system and here is your data. Okay, the data, the processes, the software, maybe the data is some pictures, your private pictures, or is some software, or your app project work, okay, which you have done. Now, this is a gatekeeper function. Now, this gatekeeper function can be anything. Okay, so gatekeeper function is basically, you can see that it is like a gatekeeper, okay, on our door. Now, what is the job of a gatekeeper who is standing in at our college gate? What does he do? He checks the I-card. Okay, he checks the I-card of the students. And what is that so for? Because it is considering the college as a system, okay, as a unit, and it sees that no unauthorized person should enter through this channel and enter and make an attack to this. Okay, therefore, the gatekeeper function is to observe and identify the unauthorized people, and this unauthorized people can be in human form: intruder, hacker, criminals, okay, people who intend to harm. And in terms of software, these can be viruses, worms, trojans, okay, and then the malware, and that is the job of the gatekeeper. Okay, so this is attack. Actually, what I scrambled here was an attack. So this is the real time model for network access security. I hope you have understood that. If the whole logic here is about protecting the data, and how do you protect the data? It's obviously you first use this model. Okay, you use some security related transformation, and the security related transformation and a secret key. It can be encryption and the key, and the decryption and the key. But however, here this is the real time, like people will come, softwares can come. Like today your mobile gets corrupt. Why? Because some virus enters, worm enters, trojan enters, and it corrupts the system. Now how are you going to protect? If you have an antivirus, if you have what you can say McAfee installed, you will get an alert. Okay, if there is a system login from a different machine, and if you have joined your account, you get a alert message that this access has been done. Was it you verified? Now what is this? Because there are gatekeeper functions installed, okay, at specific protocol layer, and also at non-specific protocol layer, which try to protect the data. I hope this particular now using this model requires us to select appropriate gatekeeper functions to identify user. Means what? Now, if we keep, what is the gatekeeper's job at our college? He will identify the user based on the identity card. And identity card, why? Because on the identity card you have the photo, okay, of the person. Now see, ऐसे भी at times हो सकता है कि some of your friend, you have given the identity card, and that person, like for female candidates, they have applied mask or they have worn goggles. Okay, they're not able to see. Then what? Just identity card is there, go. Because इतना टाइम नहीं होता है वो गेट कीपर के पास कि वो हर एक फोटो का मैच करे फेस के साथ. सो ऑब्वियसली इंपॉर्टेंट ये है कि गेट कीपर फंक्शन बहुत स्ट्रांग होना चाहिए टू आइडेंटिफाई यूजर्स. एंड व्हाट इज द रूल्स दैट आर देयर, ऑन व्हाट बेसिस आर वी आइडेंटिफाइंग. अगर इसके अलावा अगर वहां पे आइरिस स्कैनिंग या फेस रिकॉग्निशन ऐसे कुछ होता, तो थिंग्स वुड हैव बीन डिफरेंट. मींस कोई गलत एंट्री, अभी एग्जाम जैसे कि आई टॉक्ड अबाउट मुन्ना भाई एमबीबीएस. ओके, entity was wrong, identity was wrong, name was different, right? So things can go wrong. You need to see what is being put in place, what functionalities are put in place. Okay, implement security control. Dhanvantri. Okay, then implement security control. Okay, 1 minute. I'll just unmute yourself. I'll tell you at the end of the lecture. To ensure authorized access, designated information or resources. Trusted computer systems may be useful to implement this model. So far we have considered the definitions of now. I hope this model for network security is clear, and we here are complete with this part. So we have considered the definitions of computer security, network security, and internet security. We have seen security attacks, services, and mechanisms in detail, and we have also seen model for network access. Okay, so I will share this video. So thank you for your patient listening. I now stop here. Thank you, one and all.